Welcome in, Rams fans. On this edition of Rams Showcase, the Rams limp into the bye, looking up in the standings. Plus, some moves could be made around the league. Will the Rams be participating in any of those moves? And later, we answer your Rams questions. Fan Quesos on the back end. Let's rock.
This is Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome into it, Rams Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. The LA Rams coming in by week time. It is 1-4 record, bottom of the NFC West, and very close to the bottom of the NFC in general. If the season ended today, the Rams will be picking 4th overall. Been a bit since we've been looking at a top 5 draft selection. We'll see how it shakes out, though. Of course, over the course of the season, maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll get worse. We just got to wait and find out. At Rams Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, that's where you can follow on social media, ramshowcase.com as well. Again, we also do the live stream. That's going every Tuesday right now, and that's where we kind of just chat about the game that we are coming off of. So if you missed that, it is still up on the Rams Showcase YouTube channel, as well as the Facebook page. I kind of just leave them up there, unless we get a little too wild on there. Then they disappear, but you're good to watch this one again, as this one was actually really fun. We were 4 deep, 3 deep and me on guests. It was pretty awesome, man. So good times on that. And of course, if you would like to hop in on the live stream as well, every Tuesday, just keep your eyeballs on it. This week, I forgot to schedule it, being out and traveling back and all that stuff. I kind of just let that slip in my mind, but we are good to go now. So we do have, of course, bye week this week. Then the Rams will be headed back home, staying at home, I guess, to take on the Vegas Raiders. And then, of course, we've got another home game after that. Then we're on in Seattle. Then it's Patriots, or we're on the road against the Patriots. So I'm just gonna look now, because now I'm tripping myself up. Oh yeah, it's Vikings on Thursday Night Football. That's the other home game there. On the road against Seattle, back home against Miami. I'm still kind of targeting that date as that's the date that I'm going to really kind of be looking at in terms of where we're at, and are we healthy by that time? If we are healthy by that time, what does our record look like? Because I think that is going to be a very big point of the season where we can kind of either kind of know that we're going to be taking a look at our depth and seeing who's going to be sticking around long term, or if we are going to be making a push and trying to make it to the playoffs. So I think that's a reasonable thing to be looking at there, because let's not, mess around here. We're 1-4. Yes, that's not awesome, but at the same time, Raiders, very winnable game. They've got a quarterback change coming up. Vikings, feels a little bit like the Vikings are peaking early, and maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but Aaron Jones is a little bit beat up, and Sam Darnold is their quarterback, so I don't anticipate that the Vikings' run of being one of the top teams in the NFL right now, I don't anticipate that to continue. The Dolphins, Seattle first. We're up in Seattle, and we kind of know that this team is a team that is capable of beating Seattle, and that is also a time where we should have both Kupp and Nacua back. The Miami, they're not looking great. New England's not looking great. Philly's not looking great. Saints are okay. Bills is a winnable game. We've already beaten the Niners. Jets, I think, got much worse over these last 24 hours or so. Arizona Cardinals, which I kind of like that first game. Let's be real. Let's call it what it is. I mean, that was we're not. What was that? 37 points worse than the Arizona Cardinals. That's just not true. And then we wrap it up against Seattle. So again, is it possible that the Rams make a run? Yes, absolutely. Is it likely? I have no idea. I'd maybe say no. I do feel like we as Rams fans kind of know the talent that this team has, but let's also not forget that there's human beings in that locker room as well. And as unfortunate as it can be, there's a chance that morale is kind of taking a bit of a hit, especially for these young guys. They haven't seen this kind of stuff before. Some of these guys weren't here last year, where they know that we can just turn it on and win, 7 of 8 to end the season. Like maybe we got to show them that is something that we can do. So we'll kind of see how it goes, but that's kind of where we're at right now. As far as injuries go, I will say that I'm not expecting much word on the injury front this week. I would anticipate that this is kind of a week off, a bit of a reset week in terms of, just everybody go heal up, lick your wounds and all that stuff. Go be at home, spend some time with your family while coaches really dig in deep. But I don't anticipate that we'll hear anything injury update-wise this week. Probably when the players are back on the field next week, we'll get a little bit more clarity on certain guys who could be returning. It does sound, though, like Sean and Les are going to be having some chats in anticipation of some roster moves. And what does that mean exactly? Well, we don't totally know. It could mean signings. It could mean cuts. It could mean trades. It could mean depth chart shifting. There's a lot of different factors that are going to go into it, obviously, but we'll kind of see how it shakes out and what kind of we're looking at here. And I think that's going to tell us a lot about where the team feels like we are at. But Sean also did say that he doesn't know about cutting anyone, but did preface that comment with his patented never say never, which tells us Rams fans who kind of like can now, I guess, dig in a little bit more into the comments that Sean McVay says. When he says something like never say never, that means it's probably a conversation that they're having right now. So never say never. Never say never that Trey White won't get cut this week. Never say never that we won't see Reeder or Rose Boom get bumped down the depth chart. Never say never that we couldn't see some changes at the wide receiver group, because we clearly have found out now that when Kupp and Nacua are down, we're thin in that spot, and we're good in that spot. We're deep in that spot when we have our top guys, but when we don't have our top guys, we definitely are showing a weakness in that position grouping. So a lot of different moving factors, obviously, but those are conversations that Sean and Les are going to have. And I anticipate that we'll hear something, some kind of move, some kind of roster move in some capacity. I'm just not really sure what. I anticipate the possibility of more changes, though, in terms of depth than actual transactions. But again, either is genuinely a true option. Whatever the Rams do, it will tell us where they think we are this year and where we can go. If the Rams, Rams fans are kind of in two different camps right now: the tear it down and rebuild camp, and the we can still win it all this year camp. And both sides have good points. I mean, one side we're at 1-4, guys. Why? Why would we stress ourselves out and try to go? Because we're also going into week 6. That's why. That's why we still stress ourselves out. The other side, we can still win it all this year. They've got their points too. We haven't been healthy one game this year, and when we get those guys back, it's possible we go on a bit of a run. So both sides have their points. But if the Rams make no moves, feels a lot like they're saying to us that we're just going to play out this season and kind of see how it goes. If the Rams do make some additions and maybe a cut, maybe some depth chart moves, then it feels like this team is at least willing to try to make a push. And I think that's all we really want, right? That's all I really want is just the willingness and the effort to not pack it in 5 weeks into a season. I don't even care if we're 0-5, man. Yeah, you don't pack it in 5 weeks in. That's just, maybe it's not my style. I'm so hesitant to quit on things, like and maybe that's just a Joe thing. Maybe that's just a personality trait of myself, but it takes me a lot to give up on things. And I mean, I could go into multiple different examples on personal levels here, but I think that ultimately, I mean, I am willing to give up when it's past the point of no return. But the simple fact that the Rams haven't been healthy once this year, not even remotely healthy this year, I think that it's a reason that I'm still kind of, keeping my head up on the year so far. McVay also didn't rule out trade possibilities, answered a question about the bye impacting trade conversations. And it does sound like it's not impossible that some phone calls are going to be had this week. As far as anything happening, of course, we need to wait and see. But it sounds like at least there's going to be some conversations in some capacities there. Some talent certainly available for trade right now. And teams, not just on teams that feel like they're completely out of it. Because there is also the possibility here that I guess look at it 2017 Rams, okay? Try to put yourself back in that mindset. First year with Sean McVay, where going into the year, we didn't really think we would be incredible, anything like that. Like, who knew kind of thing, I think is where I was at of like, hey, we'll see what this Sean guy is all about, And it ended up being a really good team. But maybe that is the kind of vibe of a team that we could get a trade going for, because, like, zooming out here, the Rams have a really strong core and really could, in theory, take their own approach and stack some sweet players utilizing some draft picks. We don't have a lot of draft picks, but we do have that old reliable, all right? That number 1 first-round pick. Let's not pretend that just because Jared Verse looks like a defensive rookie of the year candidate that the Rams will just go back to picking day 1 every single year. I'm not sold on that, not convinced on that. But a team that wants the Rams won doesn't exactly need to be a terrible team. Like I said, like it could be a team that's on the cusp, but knows that they need another year. They need another offseason. And for another team, could that be a Washington that kind of feels really good? They feel like they're in a really good spot, but maybe they kind of realize their weaknesses on their roster and say like, hey, if we can add a 1 though, like, yeah, we can get rid of this guy. They need him, whatever. But if we can add a 1 next year, we'll have 2 1s, maybe a high 1, depending on how the rest of the Rams season goes. And then they can kind of rebuild in their selves, like kind of like how Detroit did with that trade. They kind of took that on and were like, okay, we can now build ourselves a little roster here. So I don't think that that's impossible. Obviously, I don't think it'll be to that level of intensity and dramaticness as a Matthew Stafford trade. But I don't think that that's impossible. That a team, and I don't know, it's still too early for teams to really know, like whether they're going to be in or out on the rest of the season, really, because again, we're 5 weeks in. Essentially, the Rams have now completed their preseason, and now it's like it feels like week 7 is like, all right, now it's time to play some Rams ball. It's unfortunate we're down in the standings. We're 1-4. We're behind the 8 ball a little bit here. But now it's time to get rolling, kind of thing. And I truly do feel that way. But I don't know. It's if a team knows that they could be good next year and they have a guy that they are willing to part with that the Rams could use this year, I don't think that it's impossible. I just don't. Do I think it's likely? I would say probably not. I don't think we're going to go for like a Devontae Adams or anything crazy like that. But I do think that it is possible the Rams try to make a move. It could be an inside linebacker spot. It could be wide receiver, could be even tight end. There's a few, it could be secondary. There's a few spots that the Rams could improve at as we're still early in the season, but that kind of tells us what the Rams think. Again, going back to my previous point of if the Rams are trying to make moves and trying to figure some stuff out, that at least tells us that they're willing to shoot for it this year. And if they just make no moves, we come back in against the Raiders. Reeder and Roseboom are still our inside linebackers. Maybe we still are sitting Kupp because, in fairness, that is a short week. I would say probably most likely expect him against Minnesota, but stuff like that. Maybe we're not getting. Maybe Steve and Jonah, we're kind of getting that update of like, it's going to be a few more weeks or something like that. Maybe those start to come in, and then that would kind of tell us a lot about how the team is feeling about our chances on being able to make a push this year. But let's also not forget that our time with a legendary quarterback in Matthew Stafford is not forever and is quickly coming up to its end. Is it going to end this year? Is it going to end next year or in the next 4? I'm not totally sure. But we also didn't expect Aaron Donald to be calling it a career when he did, so it can really happen at any time. So just got to take advantage of that. And I think that if we have any inkling that we can turn this around and at least make the postseason, because let's not lie here, man. I mean, you can make it a wild card and you're good. Like, just get to the dance. That's step 1. Get to the dance. After that, all bets are off, dude. Get to the dance. So it's kind of where I'm thinking right now. We'll see what happens, though. But yeah, that's kind of the state of the Rams right now, I think, is where we're at. We're kind of waiting to see, man, what happens, what they're going to tell us with their moves. Sean McVay also made it sound like Schefter did another one of those accumulation of data reports, which is super cool and not becoming annoying whatsoever from Adam Schefter. So that's really fun. It does sound like Schefter's report, though, and the one that I'm talking about is him saying that Cooper Kupp is going to be ready to go against the Raiders. Sean McVay didn't necessarily refute that, but did kind of let it be known of like, well, that was always the target, but that's not a guarantee. So does again sound like Schefter doing Schefter things and just kind of like being like, yeah, sounds about right. Tweet it. You know what I mean? Which is not how this is done, dude. As a sports media guy, that's not how this is done at all, but whatever. Pretty interesting journalism technique, but not foolproof. Will definitely bite you. Schefter is known to do things like this, though, that Aaron Rodgers draft day tweet, nothing even happened. He was just kind of stirring stuff up. which is really unfortunate, man. That's, I mean, that was the day that I lost all my credibility on Schefter, and now I double check him, which is crazy to think that like Adam Schefter, one of these guys, we should be able to hear stuff and be like, yep, that's true. Schefter said it, dude. Schefter said it though. Now I'm like, well, only Schefter said it though, so let me wait until some other people report it. And that's unfortunate, man. I wish that I'd trusted him, but I just don't. And you know, that's the thing is that that McVay kind of commented that Kupp possibly could be back for the Raiders game, but that's definitely not a guarantee. And what I would guess happened here is Schefter has a history of reporting in the NFL, obviously, and he probably heard some things and some workouts that Kupp was doing, and then historically, his brain probably was like, oh, normally when people are in that stage, they're back the next week. So that's what I'm guessing probably happened with Schefter's brain. Probably didn't confirm anything, whatever. But I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just saying let's wait, because it did sound like McVay said that the Raiders game was optimistic for Cooper Kupp. And it's a short week going, staying at home against the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football after that, which again, I think is a lot more realistic of a return for Cooper Kupp, is against Minnesota, that being a short week going into the game. So you get a long week after the game, and then you go on the road to Seattle, and then you get a little bit of a long week again, as your next game is Monday Night Football at home against the Dolphins. So I think strategically, in my brain, that makes the most sense. So we'll see what happens. But also, if he's feeling good, play him. I mean, I'm not trying to say that, like, no, don't play him versus the Raiders no matter what. That's definitely not what I'm saying at all. So I think if he's feeling all right, then definitely play him. But if you feel like he needs a little bit more, just wait till the Vikings game. It's going to be fine, because we get that mini little pseudo bye afterwards, which is good stuff. We're going to talk more about where the Rams are kind of sitting right now. We'll take a snapshot of kind of the roster and our rankings right now and kind of talk about some strong performers on each side of the football. But first, time to hear a word from this week's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Of course, we are really in the thick of the NFL season now. Heading into week 6 is the perfect week, by the way, to get into something like this. Maybe you're looking for something to fill that hole in your heart that the Rams are leaving via a bye week. And Underdog Fantasy definitely has you covered. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats. And that could be passing yards, assisted tackles, interceptions, touchdowns, rushing yards. So many different options when it comes to those stats as well. And again, it's just higher, lower, super, super simple. I keep on shooting for the stars, so I have yet to win. And that's so funny to me, but also terrible, because it's like, all right, I can't keep losing, dude. But one of these days, I'm going to nail one of these big ones, and you never see me again. I'm going to have like a lot more new equipment in here or something. Or there's just going to be like a bunch more jerseys back here that are signed and stuff. And that's how you'll know. But my favorite part, though, is how easy it is. I love the search feature. That is the easiest way. And then it kind of just guides you through, man. You could just kind of scroll through and I kind of let it kind of talk me into stuff, which is probably why I'm doing so well. But it's so easy, and that's my favorite part about it. I'm an old man when it comes to learning new apps. Don't want to do it. Get them out of here. But this one was easy peasy, man. I'd give this one to my grandma, because no concerns there. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app, or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code SHOWCASE, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em, plus up to $1,000 bonus cash when you deposit. That is Underdog Fantasy, promo code SHOWCASE to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 and up. 19 up in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 and over in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org in Arizona. That is 1-800-NEXT-STEP, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-HOPE-NY, or you can text HOPE-NY. Again, it's super easy. It's super fun. I am absolutely loving it. I needed something to add into my game day when the Rams game isn't on, because the Rams game hey, it's only a little over 3 hours, not a full 24. So I had to fill in that gap otherwise. And again, this is the perfect week to hop on in as the Rams are off this week. You can kind of focus on the rest of the league and kind of get in there, making some picks not involving the Los Angeles Rams. Underdog Fantasy. We'll get into not a game preview, but a bit of a bye week preview as we'll be talking where the Rams are at statistically and our top performers. That's coming up after this break on Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. This is Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags at Ram Showcase at Sheriff Joe Bags. Follow on socials. No game preview this week as the LA Rams getting to spend a bit of an extended period at home, which is kind of nice because, of course, we saw 3 of our first 4 games being on the road. But, of course, last week we got to be at home against the Green Bay Packers, off this week entirely. And then we get 2 home games back-to-back, which is kind of nice. And then also a little bit of a mini-bye after that second home game post-bye against the Minnesota Vikings, which is very, very good stuff there. But obviously, where the Rams are sitting right now at a 1-4 record, there's so many things that we wish we could change right now, but that is where we're at, and there's nothing that we can do about it now. Some frustrating games. I will say that overall, the Arizona Cardinals game being like the one that is like, it's like, well, that one didn't work out. But the rest of them were like pretty close, actually, and it had a shot in the rest of those games. So that's one thing to look at. And it kind of does, like, I was kind of thinking about it on like the flight home. I was kind of thinking about it as like, man, like where this Rams team is at this year. Because like my buddy left early. He had to go out to Nashville. So I flew home alone, and I'm just kind of sitting on the plane, just kind of thinking, you know. I'm definitely avoiding people. I didn't even have music on, but I had my headphones on because I just didn't want people to talk to me. And then, so I'm just sitting there thinking about it. It's like where this Rams team is at and how this season's gone. And I kind of went back to week 1 in the dropped pick by Kobe Durant. And it kind of was like, wow, that kind of, that feels right so far based on this season, you know, because like if Kobe gets that ball, we maybe win that game. And if we maybe win that game, then we're 2-1 going into the Bears game. And who knows at that point, you know what I mean? So like, there's obviously a lot of different factors. And if A happens, it's not that, you know, the same stuff would have happened the rest of the time. Things change. If the Rams win against the Detroit Lions, maybe the Bears come in being like, oh, well, we're not going to win this one. There's a pretty good team who just beat a team that was in the NFC Championship game last year. And also the other NFC Championship team, you know what I mean? Like that could have totally been a thing of like, well, we'll see. We'll try this or something. Maybe their game plan would have been different. So a lot of different moving pieces when we look at it. But let's take a peek real quick at just the Rams offensive rankings. No full screen for you, man. We're going a little bit raw this week, but we're going to have some fun with it. The Rams offense putting up 345 a game. That is 16th in the NFL, dead center. Passing the ball, 11th in the league, just sitting out the top 10, 226.6. Running the ball, 25th in the NFL, 97.4 yards per game. Points being put up, 18.8. That is 24th in the league. Very low for a Sean McVay offense. And on third down, the Rams are converting 40.3% of their third downs, and that is 17th in the NFL. Rams offense is missing some wideout weapons. We know that for sure. And I don't hate the guys who are out there, but they are good. And we are missing our superstars. And you can tell. You can feel it. You know what I mean? So the Bears and Packers games both went like really, the way that those games felt, you could tell we were missing 10 and 17. Dramatically tell we were missing 10 and 17. And again, I like our wide receivers. We've got a really great group, but they're a really good group when it comes to depth. When they are asked to be the guys, that's when it gets dicey because we're dealing with superstars in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. We're dealing with just really good players in Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, Tutu Atwell. We're just dealing with good. And that's not intended to be a shot at any of those guys because they're not supposed to be elite, top tier, you know, superstar guys. They're not being asked to do that. And in fact, if they were, we probably would have traded them because you don't need to stash like 7 superstars, all right, on one position group. So, I don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces into it. And I like our guys, again. But when we need these guys, like when we need them here and there and not to be the guy, they're great options. They are absolutely great options. But we need the number one get open guy, and they just aren't that. And that's okay. That's okay for them not to be that. They technically aren't being asked to do that when we are healthy, so it's going to be fine. But we're missing the linemen also, and of course we haven't had all 5 of our starters together yet on the offensive line. So maybe 1 or 2 more games, and we can get that, and I think that'll be absolutely huge. Stafford definitely been noticeably a little bit shifty in the pocket and a little quick to get rid of the football, as he should, in fairness. Stafford has been sacked 16 times, which is tied with Baker Mayfield for 5th in the NFL. Deshaun Watson has been sacked 26 times, which is the most in the league by 8, and that doesn't feel like an accident. Overall, this Rams offense, though, just doesn't have that it factor right now. We've got some sparks from Kyren here and there, and the occasional big play by one of these wideouts, but ultimately it's just, we just really need Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and honestly Tyler Higbee as well. I feel like where Rams fans are in a spot right now, we're going to finally get to see exactly how good Tyler Higbee can be, or how good he is, and what we've been missing from our offense from a Tyler Higbee. Is Tyler Higbee a Hall of Famer? No, probably not, all right? Is he the best tight end in Rams history? Yeah, probably. And that feels weird because it feels like he should be going off all the time. And he can regularly, it feels like he's like 50 to 70 yards in a touchdown or 2. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't light it up, but he's so reliable. And I think that is really important. And the real critical part there is he's got a really good connection with Matthew Stafford, which is not something that everybody has, obviously. So that is a big thing as well. So this is a pro Tyler Higbee show, all right? Rams Showcase is a pro Tyler Higbee show, all right? So I know that there's a lot of Rams fans out there that are so indifferent on Tyler Higbee. They're like, yeah, he's fine, but like, whatever. We support Higgs. Big rig Higgs over here, all right? I want to take a look at some performers here, as we'll talk about what I believe are the top 3 performers on the Rams offense. We're going to start with Kyren Williams. Scored a touchdown every game this season. Absolutely killing it, dude. Love to see it. Is really the real reason the Rams are in so many of these games. He's incredible picking up blitzes. Doesn't get nearly enough credit for that. I think that we need to pound that drum a little bit harder. He threw me the ball pregame ahead of the Packers game. Can confirm that is as awesome as you think it is. And if you get the chance to do it, definitely do it, because I felt super cool about it. He even gave me a point because it was like kind of a bad throw. I had to reach over the glass and kind of grab it, and he was like, So feel good about that. That's pretty cool. And you can give them all these guys back, plus Jonah, and I mean all these guys by, Puka and Kupp and all those guys. Just take pressure off of Kyren. I think that's going to be huge to be able to really get Kyren in his rhythm, and especially offensive line as well, getting those holes opened up. But he's staring at an all-pro season right in the face, and he's turning into a bit of a cornerstone on this offense, and I really hope the Rams choose to extend him. He feels like he's just becoming a really special player, and I don't think he's really getting that love yet. I know he's like a top pick in like fantasy and stuff like that, but it just feels like he's not totally getting that love. Next up, I'm going to go with A.J. Jackson and Rob Havenstein. Combo pack here for the tackles. It's a good thing when you don't hear your offensive linemen's names. And A.J. and Rob both missed the start of the season, and we don't hear about the tackles anymore, which is very good news. Extremely good news for the Rams. These two are definitely the anchors on the offensive line. Straight up, they're absolutely killing it. Given Stafford the time, he definitely did not have to start the season and opening up some run lanes on the ground attack. So obviously it's good to have just your guys back. A.J. Jackson, by the way, over the last few weeks is the highest rated tackle in the NFL, according to PFF. So that's good news as well. Dude's killing it. Dude's awesome. Getting Jonah and Steve back will obviously be really nice, but having A.J. and Rob back is a dramatic difference on this offense, and that's really good news. Matthew Stafford is going to be our final pick here. Yes, I know that he didn't have his best game against the Packers, okay? Yes, I know that the Rams fan base is critical right now. We're all emotionally a little bit hurt, and we're all a little bit sad about some things, okay? And Matthew Stafford having a game where he didn't look that great definitely is not, helping a lot of things. He is, however, along with Kyren, I think one of the reasons the Rams are in these games. Outside of the one, these are one-possession games. The Rams are right there. Stafford, though, he is down his top 3 guys, 10, 17, and 89. We need to get those guys back for sure. So getting them back in the offense, just like Kyren, will help out Stafford a ton. Getting the offensive line back fully healthy is going to help Stafford out a ton. And we are dead center, middle of the pack in total offense, and we haven't been remotely healthy this offseason or this season yet. A run is not impossible. All right, a run is not impossible. Let's flip over to the other side, though, the LA Rams defense. This is the problem side of the football right now, for sure. Even though the injuries are on the offensive side, the Rams defense is really giving us some problems here. 29th overall, giving up 388.8 a game against the pass, 20th in the league, giving up 215.2 against the run, 156.6 given up per game, which is, in fairness, almost a full 10 yards better than the Rams went into the Packers game with, but also fell in the standings all the way to dead last against the run. So we'll see. Points being given up, almost a full 28 at 27.8. That is 29th in the NFL. And third down, going into the game against the Packers, the Rams were giving up half. Only gave up 12.5% to the Packers, though. They only converted 1 of 8, which was very good news and a massive difference from what we've seen this Rams defense do the rest of the season. Creeping our way up to 44.2% given up, and that is 26th in the NFL. I'm not here to bash anyone. I feel like that has to be said first. All right, when we're talking about this defense, I have no intentions of downing any player on this defense or coach. All right, but Trey White being inactive feels like a really big deal to me. That feels like a big deal. Maybe the Rams move on from him, and I definitely think it's possible that we've seen Trey White play for the Rams for the last time. Maybe the bye week changes some things, but right now the vibes feel off, all right? And something that we've seen from this Rams team over the past however many years is that this kind of thing happens and moves get made rather quick. Like, it feels like it could be out of nowhere, essentially, where Trey White's playing 1 week against the Chicago Bears and then goes from inactive to maybe off the roster, and that it happens that fast. We've seen it plenty of times. So I just feel like it's a pretty big move. But I said it on the live stream as well, and I stand by this pretty aggressively, that if the Rams are willing to make Trey White a healthy scratch, just a coaching decision, now you're not even in this game, we don't even want you for depth, we don't even want you touching this field, then I think that some of the other position groupings need to be looked at. If the Rams are willing to make Trey White a healthy scratch, which they blatantly are, we just saw that happen, you got to look at some of these other position groups. Got to look at them. Like, first of all, stop getting rid of our secondary players and then realizing that bringing them back is the best option. Okay, so first of all, that. Darius Williams gets, back from IR, gets healthy enough, and then Trey White's inactive? How about we just stop getting rid of these guys? John Johnson, Darius Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon. How about all these guys are actually pretty good, so let's just stop getting rid of them first. Like, Troy Hill, I'll even throw in there. I realize that he didn't do great on his return back to Los Angeles, but, like, come on, man. Like, we're getting rid of guys, we're letting guys walk, and then realizing, like, oh, man, that's actually our best option. Come on back, man. Like, can we just relax on that a little bit? But it also, let's admit it. Let's call it what it is, man. Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom, they just aren't getting it done. They make plays here and there, and that helps me kind of hold on to my hope. You know what I mean? Because, like, I support these guys. They're my linebackers, but too many times they're on the ground while somebody is celebrating a touchdown. And that view of Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom picking themselves up off the ground while in the background somebody is doing their touchdown dance, too many times. Too many times, dude. Too many times for me to feel okay about it. And I realize that I'm the last one on this train, but I did want to give every group until the bye. So, like, I support those guys, Reeder and Roseboom, but I did want to give it until the bye no matter what. I was going to, no matter how these first 5 games looked, I was going to have everybody's back until the bye week. All right, but now we are in the bye week, and now's really time to start tinkering around. All right, open up the schematics a little bit, start poking around at some things. All right, because clearly it's not working, man. It's not working. But that was our preseason. Our reward is 3 games back of 500, and we're a little bit beat up. The pass rush is frustrating to fans for sure, but keep in mind, these guys are young, extremely young. In fact, Bobby Brown is like the seasoned veteran of this group. He's in his rookie contract. It expires at the end of this year, but he's in his rookie contract still, and he is like the grizzled vet of the front right now. I guess Hoyt also, but Bobby Brown on that defensive line, I think he kind of sits a little bit more of an anchor, I guess, in my opinion. So this group, though, full of rookies and second-year guys. Each game they get is that much more experience. It does feel like a matter of time before they do start getting home, and maybe that's against the Raiders, maybe it's in Week 18. Either way, I do feel like some leniency is permitted just because of the youth that is in that group. But again, I do think that it is time to take a peek at the inside linebacker grouping, specifically Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom, who I have major support for. But again, it's so frustrating to watch touchdown celebrations while our inside linebackers are picking themselves up off the ground because of missed tackles too, not even because of anything cool. Like nothing awesome happened. They just whiffed on tackles, and now they're picking themselves up off the ground. That's too many times. This one against the Packers was like, all right, like that was kind of the one. Seeing it in person was like, okay, got it. Like I guess again, my point on Trey White is that if they're willing to do that with Trey White, then why can't we at least get Omar Speights some reps? Let's get Jake Hummel some reps. That's all. I'm not saying that we need to make Roseboom and Reeder inactive now. I think that we just need to be able to let Speights, at least show what he can do. I think that's fair. I think we've earned that. I think that we deserve that as fans to be able to say, like, because I can sit here until I'm blue in the face of saying, like, well, if the Rams coaches don't they're not pushing to get him out there, then there's no reason for us to push to get him out there. But now we've seen so many times where our starters are just in bad position, missing tackles, getting blown back by blocks, that at this point now it is like, well, let's see. Let's see. All right. But it's not all bad. All right. Not all bad on the defense. Let's take a look at what I believe is our top 3 performers. We're going to start with Kobe Turner. Kobe Turner is showing us exactly why he's got that C on his jersey. The dude is incredible. The dude is just top tier, man. Top tier human being, top tier football player. The kid's incredible. I have zero complaints about Kobe Turner, man. It feels like he's doing a lot to kind of keep it all together. And he's just dealing with, having a lot of young guys around him, and not to be a detriment. You know what I mean? Like these guys got to get experience somehow, and every single game is more experience. And none of the guys that are around him are, poor talent or anything like that. They're just still raw because they're still learning the NFL. Kobe is the anchor of the front, and if all goes well, he'll be with the Rams for a very long time, turning into a bit of a cornerstone on this defense for the Rams. And the goal is, the hope is, from the Rams fan perspective, I'm sure I speak for most Rams fans, if not all, when I say we want to see Kobe Turner get extended. Second-year captain, I mean, it kind of seems like it's going that way, but obviously we want to see it. Next up, we'll go with Jared Verse. This rookie running away with Defensive Rookie of the Year, man. Jared Verse has just blown all the other defensive rookies out of the water right now. He was the Rookie of the Month for September. No signs of slowing down. And sure, we want him to get home, miss less tackles, but that's coming. I mean, dude is making legitimate tackles in this league look absolutely silly on some plays. So the tackles, if that's the one thing that we're missing right now, it does feel like that's coming. So I would say just be patient with Jared Verse. He's only played 5 NFL games. He'll get there. And last year, we're going to go with Quentin Lake. Yes, the other captain, the other guy adding the C to his patch, or to his jersey, the C patch on his jersey. And he does currently lead the Rams in tackles. You do really want your safety leading your team in tackles? Not necessarily, but he's doing an awesome job. He's got a 26 solo, 43 total when you count the assist, and Roseboom just behind him with 42 total. But Lake's presence definitely felt in the secondary. He's had a few plays where guys are getting some catches over him that kind of, get posterized a little bit. Let's call it what it is here. But I still think Quentin Lake is doing an awesome job overall. I think it's a lot of the other guys that he's kind of trying to carry on as well. And first time as a captain, it's tough, dude. It's tough, but I think he's firing up guys ahead of the games and stuff like that. He seems to be, headed in the right direction. So I like Lake, and I stand by the fact that he's a captain. I know not every Rams fan is all thrilled about that, But also, who else, dude? Who like BY, I guess would have been like another choice, but like do you go 2 second-year guys? Maybe Bobby Brown? Like I mean, that's a tough call, man. It was hard to find captains for this defense, for sure, simply because of the number of guys that left, you know. We lost all 3 of our captains that were here last year, so that's another thing. And real quick here, just a quick little mention on quarterback Matthew Stafford as far as milestones go. We'll, of course, be digging into more next week and what we'll be looking at, but Matthew Stafford did reach 6th in Rams history in completions, passing quarterback Sam Bradford. He is now 67 completions behind Kurt Warner for 5th in Rams history. That is it for bye week kind of snapshot here. A little bit of a screenshot, I suppose, on what the Rams are looking at right now. 1-4 heading into the bye week, but still not. The coffin is being, you know, lowered down. It's the lid is being lowered, but no one's even got the nails out yet. All right, the nails are still in the toolbox. All right, it's gonna be okay. I think. I also might be wrong, and maybe it's gonna be terrible. But either way, I'm still gonna be here, and I think that's the best part. Is that no matter what happens, whether the Rams go undefeated the rest of the year or not win another game for the next 10, Ram Showcase still gonna be here every single week, and I'm still be rocking all my gear. Will you, dude? Will you? Also, PSA here. I wasn't going to talk about this, but now I want to. If you are going to go onto social media and talk about the crowd that is at SoFi Stadium from your home, how about you just shut up? How about just shut up? If you're going to complain about the crowd, man, at least try to help. All right, at least try to help. I've never once tried to complain about the crowd. Because I live in Colorado, it's really hard for me to get to games. I try to go as often as I can. I was there on Sunday. I'll be there again in December. But that's kind of my view on it. But if you're going to just see a problem in the world and then only go to social media to complain about it, but not actively try to help it, what gives? What gives, dude? Fan Quesos, that is headed your way next right here on Ram Showcase. Welcome back into Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. Getting into our fan quesos here. And we do have a few that I need to address from previous weeks. And then we will also get into what we've got this week. So, previous week. Okay, so this one here, I don't remember the exact wording. I could go find it. I'm not gonna. But it was Payo time asking about like a snack that would be named after Rams players. So I'm actually just gonna dome this one, dude. We're doming this one, man. I realize that that I said that I needed to prep and look through this and stuff like that, but I feel okay. I'm just gonna go through the roster here. I'm going numbers on the Rams app on the roster, and I'm just gonna try to think of foods for as many people as I can, and then you create, you know, your spread. So let's see here. Byron Young, don't really have anything for that. Cam Curly fries. Let's see here. Cooper Cupcakes. Dude, why did I not think of Cooper Cupcakes, dude? Because we had those during the playoff run, and every time that we needed a first down or something like that, I would just slam a cupcake into my face, and it worked. I don't know how. I don't know why, but the universe listens, dude. Jimmy Garoppolo. There's probably something there. I'm not thinking of it right now, though. Josh Carty. Oh, dude, just a regular Carty tray, dude. Just, you know. Oh, that's funny, man. Carty-sized bag of chips and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, that's sick. Ooh, Ronnie Rivers. There's got to be some good stuff with that, man. Oh, man, that's tough. I should have thought about that one, maybe. Woods, there's probably something there. Dude, Blake Core rum. Rum? Emphasis on the rum, dude? That's a good one. Oh, man, let's see here. Cam Kitchens, I feel like there's something there kitchen-wise, but maybe not. Maybe I'm not right there. Let's see here. Just going down the list. Man, I'm having a harder time than I thought I would, but that's okay. Christian Rose Bloom and Onion. I like that one. It was fun. All right. Logan Brussels sprouts. That's too easy. I'm sorry about that one. That was too easy. It was right there. What a layup, dude. I hate that one. I hate myself for that one. Let's see here. Hunter Long Island iced teas, dude. I don't know. Kobe turnovers. Yeah, I think that's about all I've got in my brain right now, but I feel good about those, man. That was fun. All right, and then my other one that I needed to address was Rams House, and his question was along the lines of like, if for the last previous 3 years, what is a transaction I would remove from the Rams and a transaction I would make as far as like a free agency addition. As far as the 23 offseason, there was real no moves that the Rams made that I would take away. No one really standing out that I would also want. So the 23 offseason, I have zero interest for you there, man. I feel like that I stand by with what the Rams did, actually. And then 22, I would remove the Allen Robinson addition, and instead I would keep Corbett. I would try to keep Vaughn. I would also sign Alex Kappa. Any of those, really. I like Kappa. I think Kappa's awesome. He ended up going to, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals at that point. But Austin Corbett, unfortunate news for him. He just went out for the season for the Carolina Panthers, but I always really liked Austin Corbett. And Von Miller is kind of my guy. So, yeah, I would have, definitely loved to keep him. As far as the 21 season, I didn't have anybody like off-season addition that I would have wanted to change. But if I could have added somebody that was a free agent that we could have added, and I would have picked Matthew Judon. I think he's awesome. I think he probably would have gone with like bright yellow sleeves or something with the Rams too, which would have been so sick, dude. But either way, those are my answers for you, man. That's kind of a hard question, and I hate to say that because like I feel like I'm like it's like a cop out of like I don't know how to answer that. It's gonna be hard, but I promise that's not my my actual intentions. But that's just the way it is. You ask some hard questions, dude. So you and Peo ask some hard questions. Over at the Facebook page, Art says, hire Robert Saleh as our defensive coordinator. Not a question, but I also will say probably not. He's probably not going anywhere, at least this season. He's got he's got guaranteed cash coming in, dude. And it's also like October 9 right now. It's date of recording. So October, if you will. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's like he's got no reason to do anything the rest of this year. He might as well just kick it, dude. But next year, yeah, I'd be down for that. I'll just put it that way. I'd be down for that. If we could get Saleh as our defensive coordinator, I think that would be a good move. And mainly it's because Shula may not be that guy. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. Let's see here. Heading over to the other side of the Facebook page. These one's coming from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. He says, best Rams. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, man. You don't have to say how awesome I am. I do appreciate it, though, man. Thank you. It says, I have 4 for you. What do the Rams need to do to keep their postseason hopes alive? Win a bunch more football games, dude. String together some dubs. Simple answer there. Just gotta just stop losing games against teams that you're better than, and should be all right. Because we got a bunch of teams coming up that I do think that we're better than. Will we play better than on that particular day? The verdict's out. We didn't against Chicago. We're a better football team in Chicago. You're not going to change my mind. We're a better football team in Arizona. You're not going to change my mind. I would say we're a better football team. We played better than Detroit. We also, Green Bay. I think overall that one actually, that one, the game felt further apart than the score indicated, actually. I think those big plays on offense for the Packers was kind of burned us. But yeah, dude, just win more games. You gotta string some together, man. Next up, if you could take one from the Raiders, let's see. If you could take one from the Raiders, and who would you pick and why? Devontae Adams or Max Crosby? I'd go Crosby all day, dude. I think Crosby's incredible. One of my favorite players in the NFL is Max Crosby. I think that dude is super, super cool. Devontae, I wouldn't be mad if the Rams got Devontae, but I also wouldn't be like, what? Like I would just be like, all right, cool. Like, hey, Devontae is coming in. I just think by the time Cooper and Puka get back, we're not going to want, I mean, need Devontae, I guess. But Max Crosby would help our defense a ton immediately. He'd be a leadership role right away, right off the bat. And I think that would be really good. He would probably have some really good stuff for like Jared Verse and stuff like that in the meeting rooms and stuff too. So I think that would be an incredible addition to the Rams. Next one here. Do you believe McVay is here long term, or do you see him leaving for television? I don't really think about that very often, man. Like I guess I probably think about it for like the first 3 weeks after the Rams season ends. And then once he starts doing press conferences or anything, I just kind of flush that thought out of my brain. Because, I mean, especially in a week 6 going into a bye week situation, there's no real reason to be, thinking about McVay leaving. He's not going to do it right now. So will he do it at the end of the season? Maybe. If he does, I wish him the best, and I hope that our next guy's awesome. But as far as like, do I see him being long term? I do think we have him for like another 5, 6, 7 years. You know what I mean? I do think that happens. But eventually, though, he is going to get pulled away by money. These networks have a bunch of money that they are willing to spend on personalities. And Sean McVay is one of those. He's going to get an offer where he's going to be like, damn, dude, I'm going to make 5 times more talking about the NFL than coaching in it, and I can be at home with my family more and stuff like that. And that's where the decision, I think, is going to get made. I don't think it's going to be where he's just like, I'm burnt out, I'm done, don't care anymore. I think it's going to be one of those things of like, I have to do this. Like financially, it's a must-do kind of thing. So I think that's what we'll see. And last one here coming from Edwin. If you could have a drink with a current Rams player, who would you go with and what would you tell him? P.S. Rams fans are going to be okay. Don't give up hope. Yes. Who would I have a drink with? Oh, man, that's a good question. That's a fun question. And I think I'd go with Kevin Dotson. Kevin Dotson's kind of my guy, man. Kobe Turner, even Big Rob, A.J. Jackson, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Ronnie Rivers, Tyler Higbee, Kobe Durant, Quentin Lake. There's so many guys on this team that I really like, that I like personality-wise too, that these guys are absolutely awesome. But K-Dot, dude, I think he's who I would have a drink with. And what would I tell him? I don't know, man. I'd let that conversation just kind of fly, man. I wouldn't go in planned anything, I would just see what happens, man. See what happens. Next question here coming from Shannon. Who do we want in the draft? I have no idea, dude, because it's week 6, and we don't know, A, who's declaring. We don't know, B, where we're going to be picking. We don't know, C, how the rest of these guys' seasons are going to go and what position groups we're going to need. We don't know who's leaving our roster. We don't know if there's a guy right now that hasn't really done much in college but is about to have a fire second half that is a clear-cut pick for the Rams in a position that we need, and we pick it the right spot and all that stuff. So going into week 6, dude, it's October 9th. I don't know or care. And then Ryan's question says, why does McVay continue to do stupid stuff like not kicking field goals and having bad linebackers? The linebackers thing is, I think, one thing that we're learning about right now, and I think Sean's learning about right now. Linebacker, inside linebacker has been a position group that the Rams have not been willing to pay. Interior offensive line, tight end, safety, and we're feeling it. There's definitely position groups that you need to kind of value at a higher clip than I guess you would just straight across the board, because not every position group is created equal. We know that. That's a very clear thing. Running backs, not equal to even wide receivers anymore or anything like that. Like, their value is way lower. So as far as like the pay and all that stuff, it's because we're not willing to, we have historically been not willing to pay that position group. Could something happen? A Devin White, who's now a free agent, maybe. We'll possibly see what happens there, man. But I think that McVay is this year learning that, like, okay, we can't just go cheap on certain position groups. We can go cheap, but we don't need to go dirt cheap on certain position groups. We don't need to have a Christian Roseboom and Troy Reader leaders in a position group. We need to have somebody better than them on the roster. Those are just facts. The safety position, we haven't been nailing it. We let guys leave. We let John Johnson leave, and then we were like, actually, come back, dude. We let Jordan Fuller leave, and in fairness, Jordan Fuller's last season was not nearly as good as he had played in previous seasons. So that one did seem reasonable, but at the same time, like the interior offensive line, you let guys like Coleman Shelton go, and and Austin Corbett and these guys, and we feel it. We feel it, especially, I mean, in the depth, of course, but we bring in a Jonah Jackson. That's why. We had Coleman Shelton and Steve Avila. Wasn't that combo good? It was very good for the Rams, actually. So I think that ultimately what we're looking at here, Ryan, is that the position grouping and the valuation of those position groupings, I think, is going to get overhauled this offseason. So to answer your question in a not answering way, it's having bad linebackers. It's because we're just in a weird spot with payment on them, and we have a lot of money tied up into other position groups, which is unfortunate. We're also one of the teams that doesn't have a rookie quarterback salary, so we're already behind the eight ball in that sense. And then as far as not kicking field goals, I stand by that. I would defend that because I like aggression. I like going for it. I don't like going for the soft stuff. And also, I see too many people talking about that, like at the end of the game, going for the field goal, and it's like, dude, what? No, we weren't going to get the ball back. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we had to go for it. And there was just too many times I saw that comment of like, we should have kicked a field goal and tried an onside kick. On a 4th and 5, dude? No way. You go for that every time. Like, what? So, yeah, to answer that question, too, I kind of like the aggression. And it's going to work out sometimes. It's going to not work out sometimes. That's just the way it's going to be. Heading over to the YouTube channel, GP Shadow. Which rookie and FA has impressed you the most? Dude, FA? I don't know if there is. I guess Colby Parkinson. That would be about the only option, though, right? Like, as far as like an FA edition of somebody who came in and actually is doing well. As far as a rookie goes, Jared Verse is playing incredible ball. Braden Fisk is playing really good football as well. As far as impressed me the most, because I anticipated those guys playing some good football, impressed me the most, I'm going to go with Bo Limmer, playing at center. He's a 6th-round rookie center being asked to do quite a lot, and I think he's doing as good a job as we could have hoped. Obviously, we want our starters back on the offensive line, but Bo Limmer, he's being asked to do a lot, especially for a 6th-round rookie center, and again, I think he's holding his own. So I would say I'm most impressed by him, and I'll go with Colby Parkinson for the FA. And next one here, what's your confidence in Carty's consistency making field goals? I'm still feeling good about Carty. I'm not willing to toss anything out quite yet. Again, he's played in 5 games. I think that we're very quick, we jumped the gun, I think, as fans, to be like, this guy sucks, get him out of here. And I think that overall what we've seen from Carty is way better than what we've seen from like Barely Brett last year, from like Havrasik and Haralahu and Tanner Brown. Like, we saw a string of dudes that were like you see him kick the first time, you're like, all right, like, nah, dude. But Carty, even on his misses, it's like, just didn't have that one, So, and the way he talks about it too is kind of funny. You've seen him on Rams Revealed, where he kind of talks, like, he went so deep into how that kick happened, and he like talked about his timing on it, and he was like, I got there a little quick. I was at like 2.8 seconds. Like it was like, yo, hell yeah, Josh. I love that stuff, man. I love when they get into it like that and they tell you like all the details. Like, he just fired off. Big fan of that. Loved that. If you don't watch Rams Revealed, by the way, that is, along with what I would say the Coach McVay show, the Rams Revealed is the best piece of regular content that the Rams put out on a weekly basis. Obviously, Behind the Grind is the number one overall, but when we're looking at a weekly thing that that the media team's doing, with just like chatting with players and stuff like that, JB Long sitting down with some guys, I think that the Rams Revealed is top tier. It's a pinnacle program, and yeah, that's a must watch every single week for any Rams fan for sure. And final one here, coming from Payo Time Situation. Sean McVay is looking to have a Rams legend, and I saw your comment on this one, Payo. I'm gonna butt in here real quick and say that I saw your comment. You said to look at this one ahead of time, and I peeked at it and was like, I'm gonna wait. So I did the thing that I told you to. You did the thing I asked you to do, and then I was like, nah, which was very fun for me. But Says Sean McVay is looking to have a Rams legend speak to the current 1-4 Rams for motivation next week. Which retired Rams players or coaches would you choose to do the following? 1, give a speech to the whole team. 2, talk to Matthew Stafford one-on-one at breakfast. 3, go to Disneyland for a day with the young D-line. 4, speak with all the late round or undrafted players to start a team meeting. And 5, talk to the coaches about their schemes. You cannot pick the same Rams legend to do the same or to do any multiple tasks or anything. Because obviously Aaron Donald straight through down the list, dude. I'd be nailing it for sure. Give a speech to the whole team. I do go to Aaron Donald. I think that him going in there and the way that he would be able to, I think, kind of relay some info, I think would be very good for a lot of these young guys especially. And especially the rookies who didn't really get a chance to play with him or anything. Like Kobe did, Byron did, some of those guys last year. But we got a lot of rookies that don't know what it's like to play in the NFL with Aaron Donald. And I think that him talking to certain guys, especially like your Bradens and your Jareds and stuff like that, I think would go a long way. Talk to Matthew Stafford one-on-one at breakfast. The one and only best quarterback in the history of the NFL, dude, Keith Null. No, I'll probably just go with I would go quarterback. I would go Ferragamo, I think. I think that would be an interesting... First of all, I'd want to listen to that conversation. That sounds sick, dude. But I think I'd go Ferragamo to chat with Stafford one-on-one at breakfast. And I'm not sure what would necessarily happen there because I don't think Stafford's a problem right now. He had a bad game against Green Bay, a worse game, I guess, than we're used to seeing from Matthew Stafford. But that doesn't make me think that he's just done now. It's like one bad game. It's like, oh, well, I guess he's cooked. It turns out Chicago was the last one he was decent at. Oh, well, I don't agree with that. But I'm just not sure Matthew Stafford's a problem. So I'm not sure if he actually needs to have that conversation. But yeah, I'd go with Ferragamo. Go to Disneyland for a day with the young D-line. Ooh, man, that's a fun one, man. I would go with Chris Long. I think that Chris Long getting together with these guys and getting loose with these guys a little bit and having just a good old time. Because Chris Long is also the kind of guy that I think at any given point they would be like chilling, taking a beat for some food or something like that, and then he would probably be the one to be like to be like sitting there having a good time. You're on these roller coasters. You're doing Disneyland things. I've never been to Disneyland. Probably never will go to Disneyland. I have no desire, but like doing Disneyland things, whatever that means. And then he'd probably be like sitting there eating or something like that. And then he'd probably bring it up in like a real casual way of like, so what's going on, man? What's the season like, man? What are you struggling with? And then like they would give him something that he would be able to have a really good answer for, So I think that Chris Long would be a really good one there. Robert Quinn can go too. And then next one here, number 4, speak with all the late round or undrafted players to start a team meeting. That's a really good question too, man. I think for that one, I think I would go DeMarco Farr, actually. I think DeMarco being the elder guy who's still around and these players know and I'm sure respect as a Super Bowl champion from that 99 season. I think that he would have a lot of really valuable things to pass along and get those young guys because he's got such a different perspective. The league was so different when he was in it, but he's also been around it this entire time. I remember meeting him when the St. Louis Rams played in Denver in 2010. He walked out of the tunnel there, so he's been around this team specifically too for a very long time. So I think that he would have a lot of really good insight to pass along to some of these young guys. And the final one, talk to the coaches about their schemes. That's a tough one, man, because I feel like everybody I would pick here, they're the worst coach. Sean McVay is our best head coach we've ever had. You can try to refute that, but you're wrong. But talk to the coaches about their scheme. Maybe, oh man. I was going to go John Robinson, that's all. No explanation. Boom! Nailed it! I love that, man. All right. Thank you for dropping your fan quesos. We've got next week, we'll be back into full game previews. As, of course, Rams on the bye week this week. And then staying in SoFi Stadium as the Raiders coming to town. And also, that means that our first 3 home games, Niners, Packers, Raiders, those are all 3 fan bases that will show up big in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. So I just, if the crowd is something that you're very passionate about, there's still plenty of time to go grab some tickets, and I think that you should help make that place a little bit blue and yellow instead of so black and silver. And instead of complaining about it on social media, go be one of the blue and yellow rockers out there, and don't give that seat to a Raiders fan. How about that? So unless you're not going to complain about it, then do whatever you want, dude. Just for the complainers, just for the people that are like, well, they always blow out our stadium. Well, then go, go to the game, get a ticket, dude. Go, just be there. I think is the answer to that one. So that is gonna do it for me. Thank you for your fan quesos. Heading into the bye week 1-4, kind of time to let some bruises heal up, lick our wounds, and kind of we get our last little few days of pouting here, and then it's time to turn it back on and get ready for going into week 7 and the rest of the season. No breaks now, man. No breaks now. This is it now, man. This is our day off. This is it. So we're rocking double shifts the rest of the year, man. So time to buckle in and let's get this bad boy rolling. But that is gonna do it for me. Make sure you follow on all your favorite social media at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, and ramshowcase.com. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio, the Fansided Network. And for those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are... Did I screw that up? We're going to try that again, all right? Pretend I didn't say that. I'm not even going to edit this. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching. Go Rams.